Welcome to the communication of Building Oneversity, one university for all. Here we have the table of contents with the introduction, with the aims of research, the literature review. Then we go to the cooperative experience descriptions with the methods and the main results, and finally the discussion. As an introduction, we might say that the e-learning nowadays is a reality. It's just not anymore a tendency. And at University Nebrija University, there's a special unit, an e-learning unit called Global Campus Nebrija, which is the e-learning department within the university, which has its own philosophy, model, methodology, and projects. Focus all of them at the online and blended student. And at this unit, we work with a very cooperative, flexible, and collaborative model in which we think is the future in the actual liquid modern society. And this is why we have done this research in which we want to imply and reinforce the commitment of the online students in the design and the development of the online university at Nebrija. The aims of the research, first the big aim, the main aim of this work, it's how students can contribute to build an e-university here in Nebrija. And then the goals that are secondary but also very important at this study is first to make real the philosophy of collaboration and being fairly close to its students. Also, we want to obtain information about the students' concerns. We think it's very important to consider their opinion and what they think about us. We want also to improve the system and the procedures that affect their day-to-day. We want to segment for a better definition. We want to make a better segmentation of the extension activities, which we want to make them very valuable. And we want to increase the pride of belonging of this kind of student, this type of student, which is the online, but also the blended student. At literature review, there are many findings that we think that legitimate and support our research. First, the society is characterized right now by the digitization, globalization, complexity, and diversity. We also face a new economic era, a liquid society, as we said before, determined by the reciprocal exchange of information and peer cooperation. It has been found that there's a difficulty of student participation in college life, and participation is not only considered as giving information, but it has to be a very real interaction. Students also want to be committed to their learning process, and that's why it's important to enhance the students' involvement in the training process. Apart from this, it's quite relevant, the findings that study the so-called creative class nowadays and in which it's considered that people are more willing and able to work in a labor culture that highly values communication, innovation, a good work environment, personal relationships, and an enriching character of work. they want to be considered, they want to make important things and be part of them. And it is also very important to consider the collective mindset model that we can find when in business models like Airbnb, Uber, or BlaBlaCar, or similar to them. In the cooperative experience, we can find here the methods that we follow. First of all, we make this and we design with this table the map, the roadmap that we had to follow in order to achieve the better and most accuracy results. As it can be seen, there's a list of tasks. There was a department assigned to each one, and there was a schedule that it had to be followed in order to have the results in the time that it was considered and designed. First of all, we made mapping the student's profile, making a little exercise in our databases. We also made a focus group that we will talk a little bit later about it. And then we consider another sources, like, for example, the University Student Advocate report. Also, and we made an analysis of the teacher surveys of students on the last 3 years. And we also consider the student committee's outputs. That led us to make the design of the student surveys, and then we launched it. And we made also the transcriptions, a collaborative analysis of the information. We make the communication to tutors and teachers of the process. And then finally, we make the proposals report. We made and we did the feedback to the students of the results, because if we are talking about enhance and the committee of the commitment of the students with our institution, with the e-learning and the e-university building, we thought that it was absolutely necessary to give them feedback. And then we are right now we are making implementation and follow up of all the results, because all of them was finally make an action plan that we are implementing right now. At this slide, you can see the main methods that we use during the cooperative experience. First of all, the focus group, which we made with 10 students, 10 online students, also blended students, that we thought that was trusted representative of the defined profile of each area of knowledge. Then we made the analysis of these results of the focus group with a quantitative software analytics, which is Atlas.ti method. And what was very important for us, very relevant in order to build and to design the survey. We found that the main questions were 8 and were professionalization, utility, communication, accessibility, participation, bilingualism, collaboration, and personalization. And the next step was the surveys that were constructed from the structural explanatory variables. these surveys were built and was made of 28 questions with multiple choices and also free text questions, and were divided into 6 blocks: extracurricular activities, digital resources, administrative proceedings, international culture, skills for employability, and infrastructures. At these surveys, 268 students participated, which it represents a response rate of the 15%, and we think it's a good participation rate in order if we consider that only 16 days were allowed due to a delay in the schedule to make the survey. Here are the main results of our cooperative experience. Students think that their extracurricular activities have to be useful in a 59%. They consider more relevant that they have to be specific for their job, with a 69% of the answers at this issue. They also think that the virtual campus performance, both of themselves as students and also of their teachers, are quite good in a 70%, and they also think that connected spaces are needed in the university in also a 70%. This is due because many of the students are blended students, but also the online students, sometimes they want to come to the campus, to on campus, and to make some works, jobs, and or just to make relationships. Our students think that the traditional teaching spaces are the most important right now in the 69%, but they think that new kind of studying working places are needed in the 59%. They also think that it's very important and they can be enriched by an international and global culture. And they also are omni-channel students, and they want to have many online communication channels, not just one. They rate many of them as very important, not only the formal ones, but also the informal, like the social networks. And they also finally think that the accessibility to staff, that issue is related to the human contact, and they think it's very important to them to this issue to be established and be done at an university. So for the discussion, we have seen that what we have found that is essential are essential improvements to build Oneversity, one university for all. It's the utility or the performance of their employability, and to focus on utility and practical issues, the learning by doing, but very practical things. The communication, they demand new ways of communication. They also demand an international ecosystem, which is highly rated, and they also begin to ask for new kind and new type of spaces, not only on campus but also at the virtual platforms. So as the final conclusion, we have to say that in the digital economy, it is not possible to build a new and adaptive educational model excluding students from the formula. This can only be done by a very strong determination of collaboration of all, from academia to students. Thank you so much for your attention.